Welcome to Let the Quran Speak. What does it mean to say that God mounted the throne? That's the subject of our misunderstood Quranic verse today. Dr. Shabir, welcome to Let the Quran Speak.
Pleasure to be on.
Now, the verse we're looking at is from chapter 10, verse 3, and it is translated like this. Truly your Lord is God, who created the heavens and the earth in 6 days, then mounted the throne, directing the affair. So what does that mean, Dr. Shabir?
Yeah, it's an interesting statement. In Arabic, it reads, "Inna rabbakum Allahu alladhi khalaqa as-samawati wal-arda fi sittati ayamin thumma istawa 'ala al-'arsh yudabbiru al-amr ma min shafi'in illa min ba'di idhni dhalikum Allahu rabbukum fa'buduhu afala tadhakkarun." Your Lord is the one who created the heavens and the earth in 6 days, and then he mounted the throne. And of course, more than this, yudabbiru al-amr. He organizes all of the affairs. Ma min shafi'in illa min ba'di idhni. There is no intercessor except after his permission. Dhalikum Allahu rabbukum fa'budu. That is your Lord, so worship him. That is Allah, your Lord, so worship him. Afala tadhakkarun, will you not pay heed? So the crucial thing for us to discuss is this idea of God mounting the throne. Now we know that we as human beings, we get on top of things, we can get below things and so on, but how do you ascribe position and direction to God? It's generally understood among Muslim scholars that this is not feasible. God is so other than what we can observe that it's out of our minds. We can't imagine, we can't describe God using physical properties.
Yeah, he doesn't have a body or form like we do, right?
I mean, we don't say these things for God. We don't say he has this or that. Yet the Quran mentions things like, the hand of God and the eyes and so on. So, what to make of this? So, there are three basic approaches as to let's start with this mounting the throne. Al-Qurtubi in his tafsir said that the Muslim scholars have basically adopted three varied positions. One position is to say, well, we believe in the statements, but we're not going to try to explain the statements. And most famous in this regard is a narrative that Imam Malik, the eponym of one of the four major schools of Islamic jurisprudence, was asked about what does it mean that God mounted the throne, istawa ala arsh. So the word for mounting is istiwa, which means something like rise up, get above, or something of this nature. So he said, al-istiwa'u ma'lum, the ascension is known, wal kayf majhul, but the how of it is unknown. Wal imanu bihi wajib, and the believing in it is obligatory for Muslims. Was su'al anhu bid'ah. And asking about it is an innovation. So he cuts off the question right there. And that's become famous. And of course, those who follow that line of argumentation, those who take that view would want to cut off the question right there by saying it's a bid'ah. That's it. Don't ask about this. We believe in it. It's stated that way. We just accept it and we move on.
Wasn't there a whole debate? Like, people would ask you, is God sitting on the throne or is he not sitting on the throne? And then you'd have to, someone would have to respond. And then as a result of the response, they would be categorized, I believe that this was a common question that was asked, I believe, in the 90s in Toronto and maybe elsewhere, right?
Yes. In the 90s, what happened is that a number of graduates were coming back from the University of Medina in particular, youth who had, left their home countries, they've gone to study abroad, they come back with this knowledge, they're pumped up, they're ready to change the world. But somehow they were guided to try to correct Muslims on these points of interpretation, because that's what it comes down to. And so they would question people and categorize people based on this. And some still do, but it's not happening as much, thank God. I mean, we should not quarrel over these matters of interpretation. So coming back to Imam al-Qurtubi, try to understand the issues and discuss them and see what various views are available. And some people will find one view attractive, some will find the other attractive. Hey, let's live together and, be friends, right? I mean, it's not like something is so clearly haram and people are doing it, then you say like, "What's up, bro?" Right?
Yeah.
But
it's not definitive. Otherwise, there wouldn't be these various views that you mentioned.
Yeah, these various views are there in the classical books held by great scholars of the past and still continue to be held by great scholars of our present. So the second view Al-Qurtubi mentions, after that one that says no talk about it, is to say that it is literal. Actually, some people took it literally, and you will find in classical writing, some people are defending the literalness of this to the extent of saying, you know, God sits on his throne, and just as, you know, when a man sits on a saddle, you know, a certain noise can be detected, you know, the God sits on the throne and makes a noise as well, right? It's almost like, you know, the book of Genesis saying that God walked in the garden, and, you know, so Adam heard God walking in the garden. So what did he hear? Maybe the rustling of fallen leaves. This is anthropomorphism, and some Muslim scholars have held that. Some great scholars of the past. You know, people are different, and some people, you know, gravitate towards one view, some gravitate towards another. The third view that Imam Al-Qurtubi mentioned is the view that it should be taken figuratively, not literally. So saying that God ascended the throne would be a way of saying God took control of the management of the universe, because that you can see that that's what follows. Yudabbirul amr. He manages the affair. So the throne then is not to be conceived of as a physical object that is meant for somebody to sit on, but it is meant as a symbol of power and control, just like a king has a throne. And when one sees the throne, one sees, okay, this is the center of authority here. By speaking of the throne of God, this is a reference to the center of authority, and God is in control of that center of authority. So that would be the figurative meaning. Now, of course, I'm not insisting on this meaning, but if one were to choose, I can just describe like my own thought patterns and how would I choose among these various alternatives. So I don't find the anthropomorphic view to be attractive. I mean, to think of God literally sitting on a throne. As for the idea that, you know, we just don't talk about it, to say we believe in it, but we don't know what it means, it's like saying we don't know what we believe. So that's not attractive to me either. To take the metaphorical view, to me, it makes a lot of sense, because when we're speaking about God, he is unimaginable from our perspective, and the qualities and so on that we ascribe to him, we have to say that some of these would have to be taken in a metaphorical way. We cannot imagine it to be literally so.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Thank you, Dr. Shabir.
You're welcome.
Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Muslim Media Hub, the new home of Let the Quran Speak.
Here we spread positivity and good. We help people experience the beauty of Islam and help them appreciate and understand Muslims.
This beautiful building we purchased at cost $2.3 million.
Yeah, we've already raised a third of that money, and with your help, inshallah, we can pay off the rest.
So we're looking for people who can give $1,000 each. If you can be part of the select group, that's amazing.
Otherwise, just please give whatever you can. Every dollar counts.
It's our collective responsibility to share the message of Islam with our fellow human beings. Please help us continue this good work.
It's a sadaqah jariyah, something that will continue to be a benefit to the Muslim community long after Safiya and I are gone.
Please support our work at muslimmediahub.com.
Your support is zakat eligible and tax deductible.
May Allah bless you and your loved ones today and always. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum.